All right, so let's answer the last one. This is the hardest one, the big kahuna of the problem. It's pretty hard, so I think a lot of you probably got to this video without really getting to the answer, which is okay. At least if you gave it a try, that's the most you can do. When you see the answers, it'll make more sense, and later you can practice other problems. So let's start with what we still know. The price of food is $10, originally at least. The price of clothing is always $1. The original income, we're going to call that M1, is $50.40. Now we also know that in the last problem, well, let's read the problem first. It said the government could also achieve its objective of lifting this family level of satisfaction to the same level, so it's important, to the same level as that provided by the food subsidy. So if you want to increase the satisfaction to the same level as provided by the food subsidy, that means that in this problem, we're going to keep the utility of the family the same as it was with when the price of food was $5, which is when the price had a subsidy. So that will be, let's call that utility 2 in the second problem. And that, we know how much it is. It's going to be 30 times 672, because that's the amount of food that this family consumed at that time, to the power of 2, times 1680. Let me organize this a little different here. So we know that in part 2, the family consumed 672 units of food and 1680 units of clothing. So we know that at that point the utility must have been 30 times 672 to the power of 2, 1680. Now this is a big number, right? We're not going to calculate it yet, but we know that that is the utility that this family is going to achieve in this part D problem. And the problem tells you that what the government is going to do is going to give them cash in order to achieve that utility. So that means that the price of food and the price of clothing are going to be the same that they were in part A, but the income is going to be different because the government is going to give this family more money in order to achieve a utility that they achieved in part B when they had the price subsidy. So if the prices are the same and the preferences have not changed, that means that we can use the utility equation from the first problem, which remember was 2C over F equals 10. That basically gave you C equals 5F. This is our first equation. And then we also have the utility equation, which is U equals 30F squared C. Now notice that we have two equations, but really we only have two unknowns because the value of U is actually known. It's going to be U, it's called a U3 or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be this value right here. So U in this problem is not an unknown. So what we can do is we can replace one into the other to solve, right? So then U is going to be equal to 30F squared. Now C we know is 5F. Now this turns out to be U equals 150 F cubed. And now what we'll have to do is to solve for F. So we solve for F, we end up with U equals 150 over, to the power of 1/3. Now in order to find this value of F, the new value of F, let's call that F3, all we need to do is to take this big number, 3672, and to replace it for U and solve. Right? You can do that manipulation in your calculator, right? You're going to end up with F3 is going to be equal to 500, we are 5. This is going to be equal to 533. That is the 0.37. These are the number of units of food this family will consume in order to when the family gets this amount of utility. Now we multiply that times 5. Because of this, we get the number of C. So C is going to be equal to 2066 6.8. Okay. Now the question is asking you how much is the subsidy the government. Well, these are the units the family will consume. How much money the family needs in order to, achieve that consumption. Well, let's call that M3. This is the amount of money the family will need to achieve this consumption. Will be 533.37 times 10, which is the price of food, plus this, which is quantity of clothes, and the price of clothes is 1, so we just simply have to add that. So the family will need an income of $8,000, just about $8,000. And how much income the family has already? Well, the family only have 50/40, so the government will have to give this family, so this is a subsidy, will be equal to 8,000 minus 50/40, which is equal to $29.60. Okay? That is the amount of subsidy the government will need to give this family in order for this family to be as equally happy with the subsidy as they were with the price subsidy. Now, realize that, remember that how much was the subsidy before? So the subsidy now, the answer to this problem is $29.60. And if you remember, the subsidy, when it was a price subsidy, the government actually spent, that's the answer to part C, $3,360. So giving this family a cash subsidy is cheaper than giving this family a price subsidy, and they make the family equally happy. Now, I have a little question here for you, is why this is what we started talking about in the next lecture.